sauce.
Putaria, sandungueo.
That is out in the night, paying it for it and it don't matter the price. Boom boom more than now, I get moving so right. Get shaking tonight, dama todo rulay. If you know me, then you know that I would never deny. Tengo mi terio and I will show you tonight. So the putaria has my future so bright, bringing it to the light. Un foqueo rulay. I said this tape is not for ignorant babosos. Steady rep that 718. Melting pot that done made me famoso. That's from New York City, verdadero sancocho. Y poco hago un vale yo. Me monto y me da la hinchazón. Spitting out, keep it.
How are you doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Knicks and Fuego. It is your guy Hector, joined by my compañera right now. We got the lovely Karla. Nikki will be joining us momentarily, but Karla, how are you feeling today?
Hey guys, hi Hector. I'm good. I'm glad to be home. New year. I'm ready for this year to never look back at it and worry about 2025. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I saw what you posted on Twitter, and I shared it with my girlfriend when you was like, for those people that I offended in 2024, work on yourself so I don't have to call you out in 2025.
Right, because listen, guys, 2025, I'm going to have a whole, not that it's a new attitude, but definitely putting me first a lot more. Yeah. And I don't really give a fuck about, listen, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to live a peaceful life.
That's no, absolutely. Folks in the chat, everybody that's out there, you know, I know it's December 31st. The Knicks played yesterday. We wanted to end the year on a good note, right? So we didn't have an episode last week just because of the holidays. 2025, we will be more consistent with the content. It's just with schedules and everything. It's a lot going on, right? Just a lot going on. Just know that. But when it comes to the Knicks, when it comes to the holidays, specifically the holidays, but when it comes to the New York Knicks, skills, 8 in a row. This team is looking like a whole different Knicks squad. When you compare this Knicks team to the last 20, 25 years, this is the best team that we have seen in a very long time. I know in my lifetime watching the Knicks, I didn't start watching fully until about 2003, 2004. This is the best team. When you look at them on the court, amazing. But when you see the chemistry, when you see the videos on social media, you can tell they really like each other. So what's your thoughts so far on the 8-game winning streak and the squad as a whole?
Listen, I couldn't be any more happier that we're on an 8-streak winning game. Come on, especially right now where we thought hey, I don't know, especially how all the play was that we were just like, damn, is this team going to be consistent? I mean, are they going to find their rhythm? Is thing going to change? And look, they changed obviously for the better. And I couldn't be any more happier. I feel like they finally found their rhythm, you know, with each other. I feel there's the chemistry already there. It's building up. And I hope they could take this and just run with it. You know, they deserve it. This team, out of all the team, listen, my favorite Knicks team back is when it was Knicks tape. That, as far as I can remember, that's the only other Knicks team that I love, that I felt like, oh my God, look, they all love each other. It's a family. And now here are these Knicks where it's just, how can you not love them? Especially how they act, just such a family. It's just overall, I'm in love with this team, and I'm glad. And I hope now, second half of the season, that we could continue this and playoff bound, and let's win a chip, because well needed for this team. And listen, this team gets this year, oh my God, just like the Mets, I'm gonna be so emotional, I'm gonna be crying and all that.
Listen, I think the emotions will be warranted, right, Skills? Because when you look at it, right, the New York Knicks, they haven't won a championship since the 70s. It's been over 50 years. It is a long time. And when you look at the different sports teams in New York, you know, you got the Yankees, you got the Mets, you got the Giants. Selfishly, I know I'm a Yankee fan, you're a Met fan, Skills, but I've seen a few Yankee championships in my lifetime. I'm willing to give them up away just so I can see one Knicks championship. If you understand what I'm saying, I think it's going to mean more for the city, just because the Yankees have been known to win championships. The Mets in the 80s were the king of New York City. We all know that. But the Knicks at a special time in the 70s was the toast of the town, and it's been a very long time. What's your thoughts on that?
Right. And like I said, I'm not for nothing. This team deserve it. This team, the coach, everybody right now on the Knicks organization, how they've gotten us, with deserve this win. And
Mhm.
overall, at least in my lifetime, I would love to see the Knicks win at least once. Listen, I'll
Yeah.
be happy. I could die happy from that. From that, I wouldn't even care.
No,
I wouldn't care. At least we
definitely.
saw a chip. That's it.
Yeah, let me shout out the chat real quick. Let me make sure we live on Instagram. Folks in the chat, if you guys can, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button. We got Daniel Barry Sports Highlights in the building. My guy, Danny Landis is in the building. Danny, Happy New Year, my guy.
Happy
Salute
New
to you.
Year's.
And of course, mi hermano de la isla, I got my guy Ghost in the building. But when you look at the Eastern Conference, the New York Knicks, we are third in the East, right? We're behind the Boston Celtics and we're behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. The New York Knicks sit currently 23-10. And over the last 8 games, after we lost to Trae Young, and of course, he was shaking the dice in the half court at Madison Square Garden, Knicks fans got upset. But we've won 8 games in a row. Yeah, I don't want to touch on that. 8 games in a row. We beat the Orlando Magic 100-91. We beat the Minnesota Timberwolves with Julius Randle 133-107. The Pelicans 104-93. The Toronto Raptors and RJ Barrett 139-125. The San Antonio Spurs and Wemby on Christmas 117-114. The Orlando Magic again 108-85. Then you had the Wizards the last 2 games. We went into overtime on Saturday, but yesterday we really took advantage of that matchup against the Wizards. Out of those 8 games, Skills, point 1 game out and just lead the conversation with that. And again, folks in the chat, if you have any questions, any thoughts, put it in as well. Go ahead, Skills.
To me, I want to tell you the one that I actually paid attention to, because with life happening right now, I want to tell you it was Sunday's game. Especially going into that overtime. Listen, I haven't had anxiety with this team in like such a long time, and they gave it back to me. But I think I'm so toxic that I miss that anxiety. I miss that talking shit and then be like, oh, forget it. I love this team because they want to get this win. And obviously that day they got this win. But I feel like within that game, just seeing how everybody wanted to hustle, everybody wanted to get that win. And I mean, it sucked that we went into overtime, but you saw how each and every single player was just like, yeah, nah, we're going to get this win. And
yeah,
it sucks because we shouldn't have been that close with that team, but
true,
whatever. It is what it is. We got that win. And all I care is as long as this team is sitting there doing their best. And again, like how I've been saying, when the players know that, hey, it's not my night, but it's Cat's night, it's Brunson's night, it's Hart's night. I love how they're letting them. I forgot. I don't think it was that game, but there was a game. I don't remember, but I remember Jalen at first only had like 11 points. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember what game that was. That I was surprised that I was like, wait, what? And it wasn't because he was doing bad. It was just he saw, all these other players, they got it. They're doing. You know what? I'm gonna just help them, because then he had like a whole bunch of assists. I don't remember what game it was, but I remember he had a game like that I was just like, I love this. I love that for JB, just for the fact I feel like now he's like, all right, I don't have to do all this work. I could relax. I could let all these other players do work as well. And look, we're gonna get this win. And I think that's a big part as to why we're on this 8 winning streak.
And I think that's a great point, right, to put a dot and to have that conversation on, right? And again, shout out to Tat, Nostalgic Nick in the building. How you doing? Kelly Boyle is in the building. My guy, Jacob Petruzzi. Folks, smack that like button. Kelly, how you doing? Nostalgic Nick and Jacob, salute. But when you look at Jalen Brunson this season, it's kind of like he's taken a step back and he has allowed everybody else to like eat at the table, right? If you guys want to use that phrase, he is distributing the ball at a higher rate. Last year and the year before, every Knick fan kept calling, well, majority of some Knick fans were calling him selfish. He's not a true point guard. He doesn't pass the ball. I want my point guard to pass and get everyone involved. And when you look at Jalen Brunson this year, right, one thing I wanted to point out, and shout out to Clutch Points on Twitter for pointing this out, the New York Knicks are the first team in NBA history, I'm going to say that again, the first team in NBA history to have 4 players score 40 points in a game before January 1st. Jalen Brunson dropped 55. Karl-Anthony Towns, he has 2 games with over 40 points, 44 and 46. Mikal Bridges had a night where he dropped 41, and OG Anunoby dropped 40 points. Again, I'm going to say this. The best offense in the NBA, the New York Knicks are the first team. The NBA has been around for a long time to have 4 different guys drop 40 points before January 1st. That right there is something that you got to tip your hat to. And it's under Tom Thibodeau, the guy, Karla, that everybody says is not an offensive coach. What's your thoughts on the history and on top of the way Tom Thibodeau has handled this offense?
Honestly, I'm very surprised in a good way. I feel like he is trusting his players. He's trusting the players. Obviously, the starting five. At the same time, I feel like he's letting also the bench get in there a little bit. I kind of wish he would trust a little bit more into the bench so we could let our starting five rest a little. But overall, I feel like he sees the connection. He sees, okay, these are the guys. They like, no matter what it is, what game, even if we're up by 10, down by 10, whatever the case, he knows, all right, these are the guys. Listen, I know what they could do. I'm going to fully trust in them. And time and time again, it's been shown like, okay, they are the guys to be trust. Going back a little, I do kind of wish he would kind of trust the bench more. I don't know if it's me, but that's something I've been noticing. I feel like he hasn't really given the bench too much minutes. Don't know why. Don't know if maybe he's not trusting them too much. I mean, could be different things, but that was something I did realize lately, that I'm like, I wonder how going into the second half, how is that going to be, especially where, you know, Mitch is coming back. How is that going to play into a role? I mean, are we even keeping him, leaving? Like, what's that going to happen? But I'm actually I'm satisfied, to be honest. I'm very satisfied. Not much I could complain about, again, especially how the way we started, because again, I had a whole different vibe when we started, that it was just like, oh my gosh, should we trade this person, that person? Like, you know, especially Bridges is the one who, I guess he heard me. Something happened in his head that he snapped, and look at him. I cannot be any more happier for him. Like I always say, yo, I could talk shit about a player, but once you shut me up, that's it. That's fine. You can shut me up. That's all I want. I want you to prove me wrong and show me, you know what? You're right. I was wrong about talking about, damn, should we keep him? Should we not? Should bench him? Whatever the case is. And listen, he's, for the month of December, he's been that guy. He's been that guy. And listen, all I want him is to keep that up. Same thing with OG as well, too. He's been showing up a lot, which is, it's very much needed. Very much needed. And then Cat is Cat. I mean, you know, I think it's just him being in New York that, I don't know. I feel like it's just him being here in New York. Something in him lit up that he's just like, yo, that's it. I'm going to put on a show. And a show he has been putting on for us.
Yeah, no, and to piggyback of what you said, when you talk about Karl-Anthony Towns, when you talk about the bench, when you talk about this team as a whole, everybody, it's like everybody has a job to do, right? You know, it's like a fine-tuned machine, and everybody understands their role. Josh Hart knows he's the guy that goes out there and he gets you those hustle points, those hustle stats that may not show up in the box score when you talk about diving for a ball, fighting for an extra rebound. That's the extra stuff that Josh Hart brings to the table. And then when you look at both Mikal and OG Anunoby, we understand is a solid lockdown defender. But when you have Mikal Bridges, who has the ability to be your second best defender and to just vibe and just flow in the motion and be your attack at the point, you can have OG Anunoby guard the best player on the opposing team. But when you have Mikal Bridges being the person that is defending the point of attack from the opposing team, like the point guard or the shooting guard, that right there is what separates you from a pretender to a contender, like we see what the New York Knicks are right now. Right now, the New York Knicks are a contender. They used to be pretenders. Now everybody has a job to do, and it seems like everybody vibes so well off of each other. And when you talk about Karl-Anthony Towns looking like this best version of himself, right? Kenny put it out there. The Knicks are on an 8-game winning streak, are sitting third in the East. Karl-Anthony Towns has been the best offensive acquisition, and he has deserved to be an all-star starter. He deserves to be in the MVP conversation. When you look at his stats, 25 and 13 on 55% from the field, 44 from the three-point line, 83 from the foul line. He has made Jalen Brunson's life so much easier, and that's what I want Knicks fans to understand. I know a lot of people got upset when we traded Dante, we blew up the Villanova Knicks, but when you upgrade, and you upgrade with a talent like Karl-Anthony Towns, who makes everyone around him better, he opens up the floor. Look how gifted this offense looks, and I don't think this offense would have looked this way with Julius Randle and with RJ Barrett still on this team?
Yeah, to be honest, I feel the same way. I feel, especially with Cat, I feel he's been playing better offense. If I don't know, I feel like he has. I've never really seen him when he was in Minnesota, how he was really playing. I mean, but from what I've heard, it looks like him being with us, he's playing actually better than expected.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, Hector, I feel like that's what Jalen needed. He needed that break where, okay, I know I'm him, but I don't have to be him every night. And I feel like that's something that's been helping this team. And these players sees it. They see it and they're just like, all right, well, I guess tonight's my night, you know? And if I got it, I got it. And I think that's what's been helping this team right now get these wins.
Yeah.
Not only just Jalen, but I feel like everybody else too. They just see it like, listen, one of us is always going to get it each night. And let's just keep it like that. Let's, like how you also said about the roles. Like, I know it was my job. I'm going to just keep to my job. I'm not going to sit there and say and think, no, now I got to do this. I got to, you know, play more defense or be a point guard, whatever the case might be. I feel like these players know, okay, if I'm a sender, I'm a sender. And that's it. That's all I have to worry about. I don't have to sit there and worry about, oh my God, do I got to switch my role or anything? They're not, I feel like they're actually having fun on the floor instead of stressing out like, oh my God, we're having such a bad night or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, sorry about that. Give me 1 second. I just had a missed phone call. I just had to hang up. I want to shout out the chat before we continue. Shout out to Nostalgia Nick throwing out the MVP for Karl-Anthony Towns. Absolutely. Crackle Nuts is in the building. Shout out to my guy Crackle Nuts. No, you're the greatest ever, Crackle Nuts. Shout out to you. I miss you. AP is in the building. Says Happy New Year's. I can't believe it's been 31 years since the 1994 NBA Finals with the New York Knicks versus the Houston Rockets. In 1994, what were you doing in 94? Skills, because I was watching Power Rangers. What were you doing in 1994?
I was 3, 4, yes. So I didn't even know about the Knicks. I didn't know nothing about the Knicks. Listen. I think I became a Knicks fan early 2000s. So I didn't even know. I mean, I wish I would have known, you know, at least my parents, but mom was into all that, you know, Spanish lady, into her novellas and all this other stuff. So what would we know?
Same. My grandma was into Sábado de Giganto and stuff like that on Saturdays in Telemundo. If you know, you know, right? But shout out to the rest, everybody that's in the chat. Let's continue. D Block is in the building. D Block says salute to the Knicks community and skills. D Block, shout out to you, my guy. Appreciate you for showing up. AP again said that I was in high school. You was in high school. AP, don't age yourself, bro. All right, just keep it between us. All right, shout out to you. Happy New Year's to my guy Nathan Ramachandra for the NNR Sports Hour. If you guys, you know, I want to take a quick pause. This Friday, we have another show on Fridays that's called The Pop Off, right? Four talented individuals. They have a former NBA player coming on as a guest this week. Joe Smith, former NBA player, will be on this Friday to chop it up with the guys from The Pop Off. So if you guys are free, make sure you hit that notification. Make sure you hit that like button. And like Frankie Mato says, hit the likes, hit the subscribe to the channel so you could be up to date with everything else that we have coming out of here, right? But to piggyback off of the conversation that Skills and I was having, right, talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, and you brought it up, and Carmelo Anthony said it on his 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast. The version of Karl-Anthony Towns you saw in Minnesota, it was like he was on a JV basketball team, right? Now in New York, you're seeing the varsity version of Karl-Anthony Towns. It is a different swagger, and like I said, Karl-Anthony Towns, I've said this before, he has also been a guy that has shown you he is willing to take that back seat to the superstar of the team, right? He was the face of the franchise for the Minnesota Timberwolves for many, many seasons. And then they get the #1 pick in Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns showed you that he was willing to take a back seat and be the second fiddle to Anthony Edwards. And coming over here, immediately, one of the first things he talked about was Jalen Brunson being the captain. That right there, to me, separates Karl-Anthony Towns from Julius Randle. No shade to Julius Randle, right? He came over here when nobody wanted to come, when Kevin Durant and Kyrie, when they both dissed us. Julius Randle came. He became an all-star. He made the Knicks relevant. I don't want to rain on or throw any shade on Julius Randle and what he meant to the organization or his or his meaning to the organization, right? In Knicks history, if you get what I'm saying, right? Without Julius Randle, we don't go to the playoffs those first couple of seasons. I acknowledge that, right? But now we have Karl-Anthony Towns, and having a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns, you see the difference between a superstar player like Cat and Julius Randle, who's an all-star, who's all NBA, whatever, yada, yada, yada.
Right. Like, listen, I don't take it away from Julius. He did what he could on his team, and I will forever be grateful for that. You get me? But I feel like now seeing how this team is, especially when the trade happened, listen, sorry to say, maybe Julius was the problem. You know, maybe this just wasn't the fit for him, and that's okay. You know, I mean, listen, it's like in every team, for every player, this team might not be it for you, and you go get traded to the Miami Heat, and that's the team for, and that's okay. You know what? At the end of the day, at least we sat there and we tried.
Yeah. No, and like you said, when it comes down, you know, I know this is a phrase that gets thrown around a lot. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Julius Randle will always be remembered as a Knick. Like for his time in New York, I will always give Julius Randle his flowers, right? We understand what his flaws was. We understand the up and downs, like his relationship with the fans. I get it, right? The online back and forth between like his wife and the fandom. I get it. Some stuff was inappropriate, right? But I don't want to take away from what Julius, me giving Karl-Anthony Towns his praise, I don't want to take away anything from what Julius Randle meant in his time as a New York Knick, if you get what I'm saying, Karla.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he did get us to the playoff after how many years we wasn't even in the playoff to begin with. So I would never take that away from him. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God. Yeah, like, yeah, maybe he was the problem. But as me saying that, I'm not saying like, wow, you know, we should have got rid of him a long time ago. No, I'm not saying that either, because again, look what he did when he came here when nobody wanted to come here to begin with, you know, and he tried his best. And I get it. It's New York. We're gonna be hard on a player, especially when they're not performing to what we expect. And as you said, Hector, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I wasn't okay with what he did. But I get it. I mean, he's only human. I mean, we all express ourselves in different ways. I mean, I'm glad it probably could have been worse. Let that have been another player who really could have handled the tempo or whatever, and it could have been worse. But he tried his best, and I'll be forever grateful, thankful for him for what he did for this team, and pretty much bringing back the Knicks alive to, you know, the Knicks to be in conversation now with basketball talk, you know, because before, hey, we talked to any friends of ours a few years ago, they'll laugh and be like, "You're a Knicks fan?" Haha, like,
yes,
we get cheated on. Like, you know, and what can we say? Because it was always, well, you guys haven't even made the playoffs, and how long you haven't won the chip. You know, it was the same old, where it was true. I mean, who the hell were we to talk about the Knicks 5-6 years ago? You got me? Like, no, ain't nobody want to.
But even now, right? I get a little bit cringy skills, and I'm not sure if you can relate to this, right? Like being out as a Knick fan, right? I love to interact and talk to other folks that are Knick fans, but it's like you get to meet some fans, and it's like, how long have you been a Knick fan? Like, are you really a Knick fan, or did you just jump on the bandwagon within these past few years? Like, were you in the trenches with us with Marbury and Eddie Curry and Jerome James? Like, how far back does your Knick fandom go?
Real quick before we die.
Go ahead. Here. No problem. While Karla does that, I want to shout out the chat real quick. Who else? We got Red in the building saying Happy New Year. I love the doggy picture. Shout out to the doggy picture. Let's go Knicks. Al Diddy is in the building. How you doing, Al Diddy? 35 years. Yes, 35. That's how old I am. AP, just keep that between us. Don't tell anybody. Nathaniel Crenshaw is in the building. Ooh, he dropping the shade. He said my Lakers will sweep the Knicks in the NBA Finals, or we're winning 5 games. Listen, Nathan, keep that same energy. That's all I'm going to say. I keep my receipts. John McDonald in the building says New York Knicks versus the Thunder is the best test so far this year. We will see. Absolutely, John. And I think there's certain litmus tests for the New York Knicks, right? We saw the first one against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know, everybody raves on how great the Timberwolves and their defense is. Now let's see what happens when we face the OKC Thunder. We still have to be better against the Boston Celtics, and we got to be better against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're up top of us when it comes to the Eastern Conference, but we have to be better than those two teams, right? AP says, remember it like it was yesterday, a 3-2 lead. Bro, don't be bringing up the bad memories. Don't be bringing up the bad memories. Again, shout out to the chat. Billy is in the building. Shout out to my guy, Billy. Billy, Happy New Year's, my guy. Hope all is well with you and the fam. Nemor is in the building. for New Year's, Knicks win. The Knicks 9 wins tomorrow. Happy New Year's, y'all. Absolutely. Let's make it 9. Shy Powers is in the building. My guy Shy, how you doing? Jonathan as well. Jonathan, do your job and drop how many likes we got in the chat, right? Because we got over 80 people in the building. We're sitting at 4,726 subscribers, right? So if you're subscribed to the channel, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We are on our way to 5K. Shout out to my guy Chop Low. Uncle Chop is in the building. Chop, I'm gonna need you to go to Canarsie and pick me up a plate and bring that to Washington Heights because I'm hungry. I need some oxtails and mac and cheese. All right, now that Skills is back. Karla, we good? Everything good? I think
yeah, we're good. Don't worry.
Copy. So, right, the trenches, Frank. Yesterday was the year anniversary for the RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly and the OG Anunoby trade, right? I want to get your take real quick. After a year of the trade, what was your thought initially when the trade happened? Because I remember like it was yesterday. I was out in Florida with my girlfriend. We was on the line at a rental car company having to go through whatever mess that was when the news dropped. So what's your thoughts a year later from that trade? And shout out to the big teddy bear in the back.
I know you just saw it. So I don't even remember where I was. I know I was out and about, and I remember I don't even know. I want to tell you I was out having the time of my life. Because next thing I know, my phone is being blown up, and they're talking about, listen, RJ just got traded. I go ahead and go look because I'm here thinking I saw one text, and I'm here like, nah, it's bullshit. I go see 2, 3, 4, everything is being blown up, and I'm just like, wait, this is for real? Me, who I am. Let me go on Twitter because if it's not on Twitter, it's not real. I go and look, and I was upset. I was sad just for the fact, like, damn, I really wanted RJ on this team. Like, I felt not that he could have been the main superstar, but one of our superstars. I felt like he really had the potential to grow with us a lot more. And especially now, I mean, again, it's always, I wonder how this would have been if he was still on this team. Like, would we be where we at now? But eventually, again, I don't try to get too attached to a player. I feel like sometimes I do. But I try not to. I was open-minded about it, that I'm like, all right, so obviously we're getting rid of him, and we thought he's, hey, that he's going to take us somewhere. If we got rid of him, that means there's something else happening. Obviously, we've seen time and time again, Leon always surprises us. Like how we said, Leon, we trust. And at that point, that's how I was. That I was just like, let's see how it goes. I mean, obviously, again, it was RJ. Like, it was a baby. One of their babies. Yeah. We were watching him grow, and it's just like, I feel like you could have been like. I really would have loved to see him get a ring with us. Along whoever else we would have had. I do still wonder that would he be a good fit still now with this team, with the players we have. At the same time, it's like, look, all right, if we was to still have him, obviously there's a lot of players in this team that we probably wouldn't have. So it's like, would it work? Would it have not worked? Did we win that trade? Did we not win that trade? Is in the sense of just like losing him. That sense of just like losing him. Was he also another piece that maybe he wasn't just a good fit for this team? Again, I'm more than happy what he did for us. That was another season at that time too. That was just like, damn. It gave us a little bit of hope to be like, oh my God, are we gonna get somewhere? Or we, finally. Unfortunately, we didn't make it all the way, but it got us hype again. Again, it got the Knicks to be on the table to be spoken about.
Yeah. But no, when the trade happened, I feel exactly how you felt, right? It was a gut punch because I really believed in RJ Barrett. I was a big RJ Barrett fan back when, he was in high school and going into Duke. I was a big RJ Barrett fan. I thought RJ Barrett has the makeup, right? The work ethic to be an elite player in the NBA. That's what I thought of him coming out of college. It didn't work out. It was a bit rough for him, first few years in the NBA, especially when it comes to shooting and, us waiting for him to take that next step. It never happened. He's having a tremendous season this year with the Toronto Raptors, him being one of the primary ball handlers and one of the number one scoring options in Toronto. I think he's in the perfect spot for him. To your question, would he fit on this team currently as it is constructed? When you look at what this team does, defense, unselfishness, willingness to pass the ball, I don't think RJ Barrett would fit in this system with Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG, Josh, and Karl-Anthony Towns, because each one of them shows you they're willing to pass the ball and pass up a shot and giving up to their teammate to get their teammates involved. And when you look at the type of player that RJ Barrett is and Julius Randle, they're more tunnel players, right? Put their head down, try to get to the basket. They're not facilitators. They're not ones that are going to get you. They're not going to average close to 10 assists a game. They're not going to get 5, 6, 8 assists on a regular day and night basis. They're more offensive first. Let me get my bucket. Let me get somebody involved, and then I play defense second or thirdly, right? When you look at OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, they're the type of player that Tom Thibodeau wants for his system. Unselfishness. They can shoot the ball when they're open, and their willingness of playing defense. That's what Tom Thibodeau wants, and I think that you have the perfect 5. When it comes to OG, I was a big fan of OG Anunoby, right? He was drafted in 2017. I know he suffered the ACL injury, had surgery his rookie year, wasn't the best, but when the trade happened, at first it felt like a gun punch, but then the Knicks fan in me just washed away and realized I understand the reasoning behind the trade. I understand why Leon Rose made the trade. And to your point, and Leon Rose retrusts. He's playing three-dimensional chess while we're playing checkers, right? So I knew that something else would happen. And when the trade happened for Karl-Anthony Towns, I think it caught everybody by surprise because it was damn near training camp. They was damn near in Westchester when the trade happened. So a year later, I think the team is at a better position with the assets that we were able to keep and not give up. We used that to get Karl-Anthony Towns, and I think the future is just better for this team now.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, listen, even too, when I knew we was getting OG, personally, I didn't know too much about OG, so I couldn't sit here and tell anybody like, oh, like yes, no, maybe so. It was just like, I guess we'll see how he plays. And listen, those first few games that he played and how he showed out right away, he got me. I was just like, yo, okay, I'm okay with this player. Like I can't be upset at all. I can't feel like, damn, this is who we got. Like really,
I think he guarded like Giannis and Jokic within that first like 2 weeks and shut them down. And I was like, I'm done. I'm so.
Yeah, that was literally me. Like literally, if I'm not mistaken, it took like me 2-3 games for me to be like, yo, I'm sold. I'm sold with OG. I don't mind. I don't care. Like, I want him on this team. Like, I need him on this team. We need him.
I got a video that I want to share, right? But I'm gonna warn you in advance. You may want to get some tissues, right? Because you may be tearing up. I know I'm going to be. I want to give RJ Barrett some flowers. I found this video on TikTok and I just wanted to share it with people.
With the 3rd pick in the 2019 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select RJ Barrett.
Finds Barrett. Gets set up. This is for the win. The drive goes in. Three. Throws it up. Barrett charges.
Nothing's new. Nothing.
Thank you, RJ. Thank you. Honestly, thank you. Like
it
was a long time for the Knicks.
Right. There was my favorite RJ moment was I was at the game. It was with the Celtics. That he was it that 3-point that it was literally at the buzzer beater that he did. I think we was tied, and after that, if we didn't obviously get anybody's shoe, we was gonna go into overtime. And I will never forget that moment. I think I got it on video and everything that he was the one who won the game for us. Like so unexpectedly that I was just like, I love this kid. It's sad that he's gone by the same, like I said earlier, the same way for Julius. Maybe he wasn't, not that they were the problem. I shouldn't be saying that. Not that they were the problem. This team wasn't their fit. And that's okay. It's that, like, we're saying, look how RJ is right now in Toronto. Like, listen, I'm happy for him. I cannot be upset that, damn, you left and that's how you play. Because I feel like a lot of people do that too. When they do that to a player because they see another player, that same player that was on our team thriving somewhere else. That's okay. Again, maybe this wasn't their fit. What our idea is right now that we're trying to, do for this team. That's totally fine. More than happy for him. And listen, if he gets a ring before we do, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
that just means, look, the Knicks got to work a little harder. There's still something missing, and we just got to look for it. That's it.
Yeah, you're not a villain. Just know that, RJ Barrett. You're not a villain in New York. My
We
guy
still love
John
you.
A said that RJ video got him crying. Word, bro. When I found that video early, I'm
No.
not gonna lie, I a little teared up before I played it on the stream. Shout out to my guy John in the chat. We got NFE in the strike zone in the building. G Money is in the building. My guy Gideon. G Money, I hope all is well. Hope the fam's doing good. It's been a minute since I saw you. Shout out to you. Frankie Monto says OJ and Precious was a steal. No, absolutely. Let's talk about Precious. Let's talk, because I know we give, you know, OG Anunoby his flowers and Mikal Bridges. We got to talk about Precious Achua. First of all, shout out to Precious. He put that reporter in place. I think it was last season when he asked him, like, "Oh, you're a Met fan, but you're from the Bronx." And he's like, "I'm from Queens. I just went to school in the Bronx." Right. So shout out to Precious Achua. Again, another guy that he was a lottery pick. A lot of hype coming out of college. It didn't work out in Miami. He went to Toronto. And again, another guy that I always liked his game coming out of college. It didn't work in his other stats. But again, another guy that he would give you those hustle stats that don't show up in the box score, right? Precious Achua, a willing defender, a tough guy, right? Him and Josh Hart, you know, it doesn't seem like you're losing much when Josh Hart comes out and Precious come in. It's not that much of a drop off, right? The drop off is Josh Hart grabs the rebound and pushes the ball up the court. That's the only drop off. He's more of a playmaker than Precious, but I got to give Precious his flower. He's a lunch pail guy, you know, blue collar worker. So shout out to Precious. What's your thoughts on that, Skill? And folks in the chat, we got over 100 people watching us collectively across all platforms. Smack that like button and hit that subscribe button. My fault, Karla. Go ahead.
No problem. Here's my son. Aries. Bye.
Shout out to Young Skills. He's
right
famous.
now.
Shout out to the youngin.
So yeah, about Precious, I pretty much the same thing as OG. I didn't know too much play. It's crazy because you would think I would know about all these players, and I tend to try to watch all the other teams too here and there, but I really don't. I don't know. I'm a weird friend. If it's not the Knicks or Mets, I'm not paying attention to nobody else. If anything, I'm asking, like, I'll ask you, Hector. Now we do a trade. I'm like, and I don't know who the player is. I'm like, Hector, who's this? Tell me about this person. But the same thing, I didn't know much about Precious at all. And again, it took just a few games for me to be like, okay, this is actually a good piece to this team. He does bring a lot to the table, especially like if OG is out for whatever reason. I believe there was actually a few games that he was out and Precious was the one who stepped up. And that did, like, I feel like that's definitely guys that we need, where if one of our players get hurt, you know, God forbid, we could count on the next person on the bench to be like, you know what, they'll step up. You know what, that player, for Precious OG, I feel like Precious does step up for us, for OG, for Josh. You know what, if they're not there or if they're lacking in something, he is that one to step up. And honestly, that he's another player I hope we could keep him as long as we can. As long as obviously it fits the team chemistry and all that good stuff, because I wish we could keep all the same player forever and ever and ever. But obviously that's not how things work, which is fine. But I'm honestly glad we got Precious, especially I feel like we felt it more when he got hurt early in the season, that he wasn't able to play so many games. I felt like we all kind of felt that, like, damn, he's not, he's hurt. Like, that goes to show clearly he does something for this team. You know, nobody was just like, I mean, I guess, okay, whatever, he got hurt, it's okay, you know, that's different. And I feel like all of that, those reactions shows you what this player is giving to this team, his value on this team. Because, I mean, if we sit there and we just be like, okay, he got hurt, it is what it is. I mean, so what's the point of him on this team? And then, because clearly he's not doing much for us. You get me?
And I was going to say, not for nothing, right? If you think about it, we're on an 8-game winning streak. And one of the correlations of that 8-game winning streak is OG Anunoby coming back from his injury. That
Yeah.
him returning from his injury has led to this spark that we've seen over the last 8 games, right? Last year's team, especially before the OG trade, if we were down like we were Saturday against the Washington Wizards, which is a team that we should beat every time we face them, but on Saturday, last year's team, if we were down against the Washington Wizards, we're losing that game last year. Last year, we're losing that. Years before, we're losing that game. This year, you see a difference when it comes to, they understood like, yo, bro, like we're getting embarrassed by the Washington Wizards. We need to come back in the second half, specifically Jalen Brunson, and we need to win this game. And that's what happened. Shout out to the captain, because the captain stepped up when we needed him the most.
Right. And you see, and that's the thing. I feel like if JB didn't have the help that he's getting now, I feel we would have been like that, like how we was last year. We was losing to teams we had no business losing to. You know, and the games were close. Like, it wasn't even that the games were like far apart from, you know, score wise was far. No, these games, it was just, yo, why are we losing? And I feel like obviously back then JB tried to like be the captain. Well, he wasn't yet captain, but you know, he tried to be like, all right, I gotta pick up the slack. I gotta pick this slack. Especially at the time that where Julius wasn't playing anymore. And I feel like all of that was way too much pressure for him to actually be the player he could be, versus this year where we've been talking about he's relaxed. He's just like, listen, I could let everybody else step up. If I just need to assist to make you make those points, I'm here for it, which I'm glad. And I feel like a game like that where he saw, okay, it's not enough that everybody else is doing stuff for whatever reason, they were lacking all that good stuff, but he's like, you know what, I need to step up too. He did. He wasn't burned out. He, you know, you saw that it wasn't like he's just like, damn, come on, nobody else is working, nobody else has showed up to work today. He stepped up. He saw it. Oh, I need to step up. Okay, he stepped up, and it, you know, you saw it that he stepped up. It wasn't that he was trying where he has games like that where he's trying his best, he's trying to step up, but he's missing shot after shot. He's forcing things. Defense is not the great. Everything is just like, yo, why even bother at this point? Versus that day, it was just, to me, seeing the game, it was just like, yo, easy for him, easy. You know, again, no point as to why that game should have been so close, but whatever. Point is, we got the win. That's all I care.
Yeah, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. As long as we were able to walk out of Washington that night with a win, I mean, a walk out of that game with a win, that's all that matters. Shout out to my guy, On Dios is in the building. On Dios, how you doing? Folks, again, we got over 100 people in the building watching us collectively across all platforms. If you're on Instagram, if you're on X, if you're on Twitter, click the link in the bio, jump on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. In the description of this video, you'll see my Twitter account. You'll see the new KnicksEnFuego Twitter. Make sure you guys go give it a follow. Carla's Twitter's there, Nikki's Twitter's Twitter. Make sure you guys go and follow the team. Last thing before we get out of here, and I'm not sure if Nikki's going to join with us. If not, it's totally fine. Last thing before we get out of here, there's a little bit of rumors going around that the New York Knicks are looking at Jonas Valanciunas, maybe, right? Stephen Bondy. Stephen Bondy has been reporting. So Stephen Bondy spoke to him apparently, right? Most likely he will be waived or a trade will be worked out, and the Knicks may have some interest in Jonas Valanciunas, which, you know, for some Knicks fans, when I saw this personally, I was scratching my head because it's like Mitchell Robinson is on his way back. So what does that mean for Mitchell Robinson? Mitchell Robinson put out a video of him today working out, showing out new workouts and stuff. So it's kind of weird seeing that right when Robinson posted that workout video, this came out from Stephen Bondy about the Jonas Valanciunas situation. So I'm kind of intrigued to see where the Knicks go. When you look at Valanciunas, he's a big body, he's great at rebounds, and the one thing that he has over Mitchell Robinson is his availability. Your best ability is availability, and Mitchell Robinson, he is so injury prone. But what's your thoughts about this? Because I'm not sure if it was you were scratching your head when you saw me put it in our group chat.
I saw it. Actually, when I saw her, what it was, I think I was doing my hair. I don't really remember, but I know I was out about running, trying to come back. So that's been my biggest thing now that I'm wondering, like, okay, Mitch is about to come back. Rather it be at, you know, now early January, end of January. So what are we doing? Like, I'm very
Mhm.
conflicted because just for the fact, okay, if we're gonna trade him, the big question everybody's asking, but for who? Like, who is out there that could, give us what we need, like what Mitch was at one point in time able to give us,
Mhm.
or do we sit there and we're just like, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Let's see if he's able to play healthy. Like, I don't know. And I feel like that second option to gamble the ball on him is just like, I don't know how comfortable I feel with the Knicks doing that. I am leaning a little bit more like, let's trade him. But I do, obviously, we all know his trade value is basura right now at this point, and it'll be hard to
Yeah.
get something, somebody really, really good.
Mhm.
But it's just like, I don't know how comfortable do I feel with, okay, let's have Mitch come back and play. And what if maybe right now it's not Mitch's time to be on this team? Like, maybe it's time to say goodbye. Like, I mean, as I love Mitch,
Yeah.
always did. It's just
Same.
his
Same.
injuries. It's that kills me. Like, bro,
Yep.
can you, like, I don't know, live in a
And
bubble?
I can't blame him. Yeah, be a bubble boy. I can't blame him
Right.
for his injuries, because that injury that happened in the playoffs, that's because Joel Embiid ripped out
Well,
his foot.
yeah.
I can't blame
Right,
him
yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
That,
Like,
don't get me wrong. Yeah, of course not. Like, I will never sit here and be like, "Yo, that was your fault," which it sucks. I'm still upset about that because who knows how it could have been if he wasn't injured. Like, if we still had him during the playoff run.
yeah.
Like, who knows like, would we have gone all the way, possibly all the way, and possibly win a chip? Like, stuff like that I hate because I don't know, my mind goes to that, to the
Mhm.
whole what if,
Same.
because
Yeah.
really, what if, like, what if right now we'll be talking a whole different conversation about how, yo, last year we just won, the chip and all this stuff,
Mhm.
and then now look at this team, how this team is going, like, but at the same time it's like, damn, what if, that would have never happened, Mitch got never hurt, and we never would have got Cat, we would have never got
Yeah.
Came Bridges, like,
And then
you just never know.
and then if because I'm gonna use the word if. I'm not gonna
Right.
say when, but if Mitchell Robinson is traded from the team, that closes a chapter of what the Knicks were before Tom Thibodeau and Leon
Right.
Rose. He
Right.
is a remnant of the David Fizdale era, of the Kevin Knox, the Frank Ntilikina, Alonzo Trier days. He's a leftover and a remnant from that era of the New York Knicks. And the moment he's gone, the door is closed, and we have no connection to that horrible time as Knicks fans, right? But again, like you said, we got to look at it the same way we looked at the RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly trade, right? Skills, you said maybe being in another situation is the best thing for RJ, because
Right, exactly.
look at how he's doing in Toronto. Same thing with IQ. So maybe if Mitchell Robinson goes someplace, maybe to Washington, maybe to another team, maybe he could establish himself as a healthy center, and maybe he could make himself an all-star one day. But I don't think he'll be with the Knicks.
Right. Yeah, honestly speaking, me either. I mean, I would kind of hope we could get rid of him now. But who knows? I guess we'll see. But I'm leaning more into that too, where it's just like, maybe this is not for Mitch anymore for this team. Like, he's one of the last Knicks team standing for so long. And again, giving him his flower. Like, I thank him for everything he's done for this team as well, because he's helped tremendously in a lot of games where, damn, we should have lost. He helped out. And again, I will forever be grateful. But it's like, all right, this team that we have, I don't know. I don't see. I mean, who knows? Maybe I could be talking shit. Maybe he'll come back and we keep him. He comes back and hey, he shuts me up too. He shows how he is the fit of this team, which is fine. It's great. But given everything and how everything is right now, I don't know. I'm not too big on it where he'll stay, and that I feel like he'll be a fit for this team right now.
Yeah.
Like the direction
No,
that we're going,
I'm
I don't think
mhm.
it is anymore. I mean, I would hope,
I'm
obviously, but we'll see.
No, I'm right there with your Skills. And it's weird to see, because in 2018, when Mitchell Robinson was drafted, right before that draft, that 2017 or 2016, when he was in high school and he was 2017 McDonald's All-American, that 2017 draft class that was going into the NBA, he was the second rated center in that class, right? The person that was on top of him was DeAndre Ayton. So in that draft class, DeAndre Ayton was number 1 and Mitchell Robinson was number 2. The reason why Mitchell Robinson fell to the second round was because of the situation that happened with college when he started school and then he sat out for the rest of the year. That's the only reason why Mitchell Robinson fell to us in the second round. And let's be fair, everybody thought that he was going to sign with the Lakers. And when the Knicks drafted him, Mitchell Robinson was upset. He wanted to get drafted by the Lakers. He didn't want to get drafted by the New York Knicks, right? So Mitchell Robinson, if you are traded, I wish you the best in your future endeavors, wherever it is. Cool. But if you're not, I want you to be healthy and I want you to be a part of this team.
Yes. Stop getting injured.
Yes, stop getting injured. Do like my old Boricua grandmother says, put some Vicks on it, rub some Vicks on it, you'll be fine, my guy, all right?
That and live in a bubble at this point.
Facts. That's the cure for everything. Let's shout out the chat. My guy VI NYC is in the building. VI says, first time viewers salute. I'm subscribing now. VI, appreciate you. Folks in the chat, if this is your first time tune in, let us know. We want to shout out everybody as we get ready to close it out. The New Year's is New Year's Eve. Karla got things to do with her family. I got stuff that I got to do with my familia as well. So I just want to do a roll call real quick. Shout out to Chop Low. Happy New Year. VI, appreciate you for finding us. Happy New Year. AP, Happy New Year. Frankie Matos as well. Yudo Yosef. Appreciate all you guys. On Dios NYK. G Money is how you doing. Salute, salute, salute. Ronald Duff is in the building. And last thing I want to say, Skills brought it up earlier, right? Leave all your drama from 2024 and 2024, right? Be better, do better in 2025. Positive vibes, positive energy. That's all we do over here at Uptown Sports TV. It was important to me when it comes to relaunching a Knicks show on this channel that I did the show with women of color specifically, right? Latina women of color. And to have Skills and Nikki both on the show with me is an honor and a privilege. That I just want to say thank you, Skills, for joining Uptown Sports TV. Thank you for believing in what we do over here. And, I don't want to speak for Nikki, but Nikki, thank you as well. Like I said, it was important for me to relaunch this Knicks show with 2 women co-hosts, specifically women of color, Latina women of color as well, Afro-Boricua. So I appreciate both of you guys, and I appreciate this journey that we're going to get on in 2025 with this new team that we love so much. Sorry to put you on the spot, Skills, but any last words for 2024 before we dip out?
Listen, 2024, I feel like for everybody, I think everybody personally went through a lot. We fought a lot of battles that nobody really knows, and I feel like going into 2025 we need to worry about us more and let things go. If we cannot change it, if we can't do nothing about it, just let it go. Give it to God. Trust me, if you're religious or not, listen, things happen for a reason, and what's for you is gonna be for you. Also, the second half of the next season, let's go Knicks. Please. Hopefully nothing changes with this team because we need to see a chip. I really want to see a chip in 2025. That's a main goal right there too. Let's do this, Overall, I do want to wish everybody a happy new year. Hector, thank you again for giving this opportunity to me and Nikki. On behalf of Nikki, I'm pretty sure homegirl, we always have the same mind, so I could talk for her on her behalf. We're forever thankful for giving us this opportunity. This is stuff that we always want, going from Twitter to Spaces to now this. We've been talking about it. It was just always, I guess, having that little push. And of course, the main person in the middle of this, Bully, thank you for hooking us up. Shout out to you to put in contact with Hector. Again, Hector, I am excited for, all the new stuff that we're going to come up with, everything we have to bring and this next season. And again, hopefully we're not negative because this team is not going to be negative. They're going to be positive. They're going to give us win. And that's it.
Yes. No, definitely. And again, appreciate you guys, the work that you guys do already. You guys were already killing it on Twitter, right? I just wanted to be able to create a platform for you guys just to showcase the skills that you guys already was showing to everyone. You saw the pun in the skills and skills and skills. Right? You saw that, right? Just so I'm just happy to be on the ride. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your knowledge when it comes to the game of basketball, when it comes to the New York Knicks, right? One thing that I do preach is when it comes to sports and sports journalism in media, voices like ours aren't heard, right? You know, and I want to be able to amplify the voices of women in sports, specifically Latina women of color in sports. And hopefully the platform that we create over here when it comes to Knicks and Fuego, when it comes to Uptown Sports TV, is something that's an avenue for that to happen, right? So again, make sure you guys tune in. Like always, hit the subscribe button, hit that follow button, hit that like button. Make sure you follow all of us, the descriptions, hit that in the descriptions. My Twitter, Skills Twitter, Nikki's Twitter, Knicks and Fuego's Twitter is there. Make sure you guys follow us across all platforms. Shout out to Paris Duggar in the building. PD, my guy Paris. Hope all is well, Paris. Happy New Year to you, Choplo. Happy New Year to Choplo. I've been knowing Choplo for the past 4 or 5 years. Appreciate you always on the internet, my guy. 00 says, you're never going to beat the Celtics. Get over it. Oh, my guy. Oh, I appreciate you for putting that comment. It means that you had to subscribe to the channel in order to put the comment, right? Not only did you subscribe to the channel, you subscribed to the channel and you waited 5 minutes in order to write that comment. So I appreciate you, my guy. But until 2025, we just want to say have a happy new year. Say something positive. If you know during this time of the year, it's very, you know, mental health is something that's very important to me. So if you know anybody that's going through it, reach out to them. Make sure they are right. You know, make sure everybody's good. Check in on your neighbor. Check in on the old folks in your neighborhood. But until next time, I'm Hector and
Skills. Did it? I did it. Okay.
Yeah, you did. He did it. This is Knicks and Fuego, Uptown Sports TV. We will be back in 2025. Deuces, mi amigos.
Bye.
Dá presente, OG Sasso.
Putaria, já não quero.
Is out in the night, paying it for it and it don't matter the price. Boom boom more than now I get moving so right. Get shaking tonight, dama todo rulay. If you know me, then you know that I would never deny. That's right. Tengo mi terio and I will show you tonight. So the putaria has my future so bright, bringing it to the light. Un foqueo rulay. I said this tape is not for ignorant babosos. Steady rep that 718. Melting pot that done made me famoso. That's from New York City, el verdadero sancocho. Invoco al un vale yo. Me monto y me da la hinchazón. Spitting out, keep